I've seen it in places like India, Bangladesh, parts of Africa, parts of South America. It's called frugal innovation. It's where people have maybe lesser equipment, but they optimize it, they adapt it to achieve their goals. And in fact, India is probably the #1 when it comes to frugal innovation, where they've adapted equipment and what they have to optimize. Well, back to the green segment, our mental and physical state. Have a look at the disc in the middle of JOOS, the man walking the tightrope. I want you to think about tightrope walkers now. If I had a rope and I put that rope 2 or 3 centimeters above the ground and asked you to walk across it and the rope was tight, I think some of you might be willing to have a go. What would you need to do? We would need to focus. We would need to place our feet very carefully. And most important of all, we would need to concentrate. And we would need to use our body to balance ourselves as we are crossing and walking the rope. We might fall off, we might not. With practice, we probably wouldn't fall off. Now imagine for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, you are 60 meters in the sky, 60 meters. And I ask you to walk over the rope. The whole scenario changes. For one simple reason. It is a matter of life or death. One false move and you're finished. You suddenly begin to appreciate the gravity of the situation, the seriousness of the situation. This isn't just playing anymore. This isn't just a few centimeters off the ground and a little bit of fun. This is very, very serious indeed. Well, if you are running a company where people have lent you many thousands of rupees or taka or dollars or pounds, that's a serious business. If you are running a company where you employ 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 employees, that is a life and death business. Because if that company folds, people are out of work, they're unemployed, they can't pay their rent, they can't pay their mortgage. It is a disaster. It is like life and death to various people. And so the green factor is absolutely vital. It's our mental state and our physical state. How are we mentally? How mentally strong are we? How in control are we mentally? How agile are we mentally? How able are we to process the situation and the challenges that we face day to day? Equally, How are we physically? Are we working too long? Are we not getting sufficient sleep? Are we not eating correctly and a balanced diet? All of these things will be factors in how successful we're going to be, whether this is in our professional lives and careers or in our private lives. If you're in a relationship and you're not eating properly and you're overworking and you're not sleeping, I'm afraid the relationship is going to suffer, because you are not going to be in the best frame of mind. You're going to be tired, you're going to be agitated, you're going to be fatigued, maybe you're going to snap at your partner, your husband, your wife, your fiancé. Your relationship is going to suffer. Now, this factor, the green factor, is one of the factors that is the most overlooked of all the factors of success. It is probably the most commonly overlooked. Quite often, because we don't always know the full picture. I want you to imagine you have a company. You employ 20 people, and one of your employees is always first out of the door at 5:30 at night. The moment 5:30 arrives, this employee, it's a lady, and she rushes off as soon as she can. The others stay behind 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, completing their work. But the moment 5:30 arrives, this lady rushes off. Now, maybe you, maybe others have negative thoughts about her. Maybe you think she's not 100% committed to her work. Maybe you feel that she's going through the motions of doing her job, but she's not 100% behind the company. Then one day, she receives a call at work. The color drains from her face, and you discover that her child has been rushed into hospital. You then discover that her child is severely disabled, and that her child has to be looked after in the day. And the reason she rushes off each night at 5:30 is to get home to her severely disabled child. Suddenly, you have a much fuller picture of that person. Suddenly, your attitude and the attitude of others changes. You become more empathetic, you become more sympathetic, because part of her mental makeup was, yes, she was committed to her work, but equally she was committed to her family and her disabled child. She was 100% committed to her work. She did her work to the best of her ability, but at the end of the day, she needed to be away on time to look after her disabled child. Now we have the full picture. Often, when it comes to success in the workplace and in the home place, in the home and in families and friends, We don't always know the full mental or physical state of our colleagues or our family around us. We don't know their full story. They don't tell us everything. They might have had something awful happen on the way to work that will have impacted upon them. We are human beings, not robots. So we need to factor this into our thinking. How mentally prepared are we? How physically prepared are we? Are we looking after our mind? Are we looking after our bodies? So our success is dependent on that. We will never be 100% successful if we neglect our state of mind and we neglect our physical state. And that's why work-life balance matters. Being a workaholic may seem a wonderful thing, but it means other things suffer. And so we need to factor that in to this idea of balance, of getting the balance right. We need the green. We need to think, how mentally prepared am I? How physically prepared am I? And the same goes for our team, our workmates, our work colleagues, our fellow investors. How do we convince them mentally so they have bought into the idea, the strategy, whatever idea is? We need them mentally on board as well as physically in an optimum state. And as I said earlier, this is one of the most overlooked elements in success in life. Things can be on your mind, playing on your mind, that you're worrying about. Maybe you've not told anyone about it, but it's there, eating away at you. You're anxious, you're stressed. It's causing you to worry. We all worry. We all have stress. We all have aches, pains, illnesses at different times. Some of us don't sleep well. Some of us manage on less sleep. Some of us binge eat. Some of us graze. Some of us don't eat a balanced diet. Or sadly, we don't have enough money to eat a balanced diet. There are many factors. So in success, look out for your mental state, look out for your physical state, but equally those around you. They are factors that can actually affect your overall success. If you're in a rowing boat and there are 3 of you in the rowing boat, you need all 3 to be physically strong and mentally strong. How mentally strong are you? How mentally strong am I? How do we ever know until we're tested? Some of us are very easily affected by other things. Others of us, it maybe takes longer. It's a major variable. This is one of the largest variables in success. But you and I have an advantage. We have JOOS. We can think about it. We can factor it into our thinking. And because we're thinking about it, we're anticipating. We're taking an interest in our staff. We're wanting to find out about their well-being. We encourage them. We give them praise. We give them support. If they've done something wrong, yes, we might need to speak to them. But it's the manner in which we speak to them that can make a whole heap of difference. How supportive are we, and how do we encourage people? And that lifts their whole mental state. It helps them move forward.